His attention here in the media center. We'll continue on with our pre-race media availability with Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 M&M's Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle, you've had success at this racetrack in the past, a lot on the line this weekend. How do you feel? What's your confidence level going into Sunday?
We just need to try to make sure that we can finish ahead of those that we're racing, essentially. It's kind of what our mindset is and what our goals are. We just got to make sure that we have good enough stuff to be able to go out and achieve those things. So we'll keep working on what we got.
Good deal. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question for Kyle, we'll start with Jeff. We'll go to Lee and then to Tom.
Do you want to know what your points position is as you're running, or is it just going to be obvious to you?
I can't hear you.
Do you want to know what your points position is as you're running during the race?
Is that it? I'll pretty much be able to know what it is just based off of what's ahead of me and what's not. You know, we're all so tight that it just boils down to finishing ahead of those that we're around. You know, we got to beat the 20, we got to beat the 11, and we got to beat the 22. If we do all those things, then we'll be fine.
Next to Lee.
Lee, SpencerMotorsport.com. As a team owner, what do you look for when you're hiring a driver? There's going to be a lot of movement going on in Xfinity and Cup, a lot of changes. What specifically are you looking for?
You're looking for results. I mean, guys got to be able to go out there and perform. They got to be able to do a good job. You know, a lot of the kids that we've had, they've been successful. They've won races. Eric Jones won races in late models all the time, and then Christopher Bell, he's a standout in the dirt series stuff. You know, that's kind of where I put myself at, because I've sort of put myself in that same situation that I never really moved up in a series until I was able to win in it or run competitive in it each week. I think there's only been one series of race cars back when I was 14 that I never won in that we, I guess, didn't either care about or whatever, but I've won in everything else and done really well to be able to move myself on farther up the ranks.
You think Bowman has shown that he deserves a second chance in the Cup? I mean, the guys have the best equipment there is.
I think Bowman's been doing a pretty good job. I mean, whether or not he deserves it or not, that's up to Rick Hendrick, not my problem.
We'll go next to Tom, then to Claire, and then to Chris.
Hey Kyle, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There's 3 teams competing for the final spots: a 1-car team, a 2-car team, and essentially the 3 guys from your team with Carl locked in. Does any of those teams have an advantage based on the number of guys going for the last spot?
Let me rephrase that question. Who do we look at as being our stiffest competition of making it through?
Is it easier being on a 1-car team going for the last spot, or easier being on a 3-car, having 3 guys on the team going for the last spot? Does it favor Joe Gibbs? Does it favor Penske?
Yes. Of course it does. You know, right now we've got 3 sets of data points that we can look at versus somebody that's on a single-car team only has themselves. So, of course, it's going to favor the guys that have 4 teams. That's pretty much why there's a maximum at 4 teams. If there wasn't, there'd be guys that have more cars, more teams.
Go next to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. We always talk about, when we debate this on air, about champions. When you've been a champion, if being in the clinch position is helpful. You've been through it once, you got a championship. Do you believe that to be true with you in the pressure situation of this and the cutoff and whatnot and crazy things happening? And then can you also talk about the restarts here?
I think that when you do have a championship, yes, you don't have the same amount of pressure and tense moments and things like that. You don't necessarily let it get to you as much. You can just kind of more so float through the process and kind of let what comes to you come to you. So, you know, that's what we did last year. We essentially played with house money. Didn't think we really – a lot of people said we didn't deserve to be there. We didn't feel that way, but we just, you know, did what we needed to do in order to make it through each round and contend for the championship, and we won the thing. So, you know, the rules are what the rules are. We won it fair and square, and now this year we're doing the same sort of thing. We're just trying to make sure that that we do all the right things in order to have a good, solid day here on Sunday to make sure that we're eligible going into next week. and restarts here at Phoenix, yeah, they're crazy sometimes because it's such a flat racetrack and it's kind of dirty. It takes a while. It takes at least halfway through the race before you really get to see two grooves kind of working and the restarts become less treacherous. But restarts at the end can always be crazy when you've got guys that stay out and guys that don't stay out, that come in and get tires like we saw here in the spring. So there's certainly some tense moments, especially with the cars being as ill-handling as they are on colder tires and lower air pressure. They just kind of slide around for a few laps until you get going.
Go to Chris and then to Jeff.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Kyle, Noah Gregson makes his Truck Series debut tonight. Came out of the board swinging today, third in practice, first practice, 10th in this final practice. Thinks he's got a shot to potentially win the truck race tonight. How good is it for him to get this experience at Phoenix and Homestead? And have you been watching him and have you talked to him?
I've just been watching the television coverage, but other than that, I didn't talk to him a whole lot. I've never raced here in a truck since the repave, so wouldn't be worth calling me and talking to me about it. So I did tell him to call Eric Jones and get some feedback from Eric. Obviously, he's been really good here. He's, I think, won a couple times. So, our stuff's always pretty good here, which is good. It gives those guys a better chance of having a good run. We've got 4 of them in the field tonight, but we certainly want to see the two of them be able to move on and go race for a championship next week in Homestead. But it's going to be a good solid night. We just need a good solid night from Noah to be able to have some laps here to complete the race. Same thing at Homestead, complete the race to just get his eligibility for Daytona next year. That's all this exercise is all about.
Were you impressed with what you saw?
I don't. If you look at the board, yeah, that's pretty good. That's nice to see. I haven't talked to anybody, so I don't know anything about how any of the communications and stuff were.
Jeff?
Jenna asked Denny if he'd move a teammate on the last lap if he had to get the Final Four spot. And he said no, and then he smiled and he said, "That's my answer today." What's your answer to that?
Absolutely.
Go next to Jim.
Jim Hunter, Motorsport.com. When the season started, there seemed to be a lot of enthusiasm from drivers about the aero package. It seems to have waned some as the season's drawn to an end. What's your assessment now that we're almost done with the year, and do you think the changes for 2017 will make a difference?
The beginning of the season was a few unknowns for teams and drivers and things like that, and we all kind of had to get used to it. But as in the case of everything else, we all figure out what's going on and how to make our cars better for what our situations are and what the aero package is and everything like that, and it just seems to kind of die off. So, yes, I would agree we had better racing in the beginning of the season because the engineers didn't have all that amount of time to figure it out. Since they figured it out, and it's kind of dulled it a little bit. What do I look forward in the next year? It's the thing that keeps us all alive is the thing that's going to kill racing. It's air. I mean, that's what it is. You look at Formula One; they're not doing anything special. It's more than splitters and spoilers that's going to fix racing. I don't know what it is. It's not for me to figure out, but that's where I'm at.
Any additional questions for Kyle? Well, Kyle, thanks for taking the time to join us. Good luck.